In this video, we're going to continue on and take a look at a few more HTML tags. So the next one that can also go into your head tag is the meta tag. So the meta HTML element represents metadata that cannot be represented by other HTML meta-related elements like base, link, script style, or title. So it's used to specify a character set, a page description, keywords, or author of the document, or viewport settings. Okay, so just a little bit about the meta tag before I move on. When I first started the world of, my career in the world of web design, meta tags were notoriously known for stuffing keywords in there so that to get, search engines to recognize the keywords and so that their web pages would show up first on search engines. But of course, this was very quickly abused and overused. So now algorithms now ignore it if you stuff keywords inside of the meta tag. So this is an old way of a place where you would stuff keywords in there, okay, but no longer a good way to do so. All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is the character set. I mentioned that the character set goes inside of the meta tag now, so that's what the meta tag is used for now. So what is a character set? What is the char set? It's the attribute specifies the character encoding for the HTML document. The HTML5 specification encourages web developers to use the UTF-8 character set, which covers almost all of the characters and symbols in the world. Okay, so meta char set would show the character set. Okay, so moving on, there's also the style HTML element. So just now we talked about how we can link to a style sheet where all the style is in the style sheet. Now there's another way of adding style to your page where you actually write the style, the code for the style, and you put it inside of the style tag. Okay, so the style HTML element can contain the style information for that document or for part of that document. So it can contain a CSS which is applied to the contents of the document containing the style element. This is one way to sort of overwrite the original CSS document. But we'll talk more about this actually when we get to our unit on CSS. But just for now, understand that you can link to the style sheet. That's external. That's a separate page than the HTML page. Or you can actually enter the code into the style tag on your HTML page. Okay. But that's kind of mixing style with structure, right? Because you don't really want to have the style and in the HTML page too much. All right, so I think that pretty much covers all the things that, not all, most of the things that could be in the head tag. Now we're going to move on to the body tag. So I'm just going to jump to Adam here. Okay, so we've talked about, this is the head tag. We talked about what could possibly go in here. Okay, other things we talked about was the meta tag and so on. Now the next thing we're going to look at is the body tag. So from the previous classes, you remember that the body tag is where you put the content like text images that the person actually sees when they open up your web page. In the head tag, these are kind of like behind the scenes stuff, the title, meta tag, links to style sheet, things like that, kind of behind the scenes stuff, the backstage stuff. So when we get to the body, we're actually starting to look at the content that actually goes on there. So I'm going to hop back to my PowerPoint here, all right, and see what we can cover about body. So the body HTML element represents the content of the HTML document, right? There can only be one body element in a document. There's only one body, just like there's only one head tag. Okay, now one of the first things you would probably see in the body is the header. So don't be confused with a head tag. The head tag is where the link tag goes, the title tag goes, the meta tag goes. The header is a different tag. It has to do with the header of the web page. So most web pages would probably start with a big block of things, right? Be it the menu bar or like a big beautiful image that goes across the page. This is the header. Okay, the header of the web page. So it represents introductory content usually a group of introductory or navigational aids. So it could be a big banner across showing a beautiful image, or a big menu bar across. It also can contain some heading elements, or maybe even a logo, a search form, an author's name, other elements. So here we have header, and inside header you might have a heading. Okay, so let's go and try and put that in our page. So going back to Atom, first thing I'm going to put in here is, okay, before my paragraph, I'm going to have something called header. Okay. And what can I have in my header? I'm going to, okay, H1. In my H1, because it's a heading, I can have something that says, welcome to Yin's page. There we go, and I'm going to save that. Okay, so that's going to be in my header. Okay, I have also other things in my header, like a paragraph and a horizontal line here, but I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look at editing that later. Okay, so for now, let's go back to my PowerPoint. All right, so now we have inserted my header. And let's see what's next. Next is navigation. So after a header, or inside of a header, you can also have navigation. Okay, so navigation is in a nav tag, and it represents a section of the page whose purpose is to provide navigation links. So maybe your main menu. And these links can be either within the current document, it could be to other spots in the document if you have anchor text. You've seen websites where you click on a link and it kind of drops down to bottom of the page or somewhere in the middle of the page, right? Or you can also link to other documents from here, so other web pages. So common examples of navigation sections are menus, table of contents, and indexes. Okay, so here in my navigation, I have something. What's the OL is actually a list elements. Okay, and we'll take a look at that much later on. Okay, but for now, just know that in the navigation you have a bunch of links. Okay, bunch of links. So that's where your menu is going to be. All right. So before I move on to main, I'm just gonna exit here. Let's go over here and put our nav here. Let's add our nav. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to have contact, okay, and I'm going to have contact and home, and also maybe about. All right, so I'm going to have these three things in my nav, and I can put. Later on, I'm going to make them become links or also structure them in a proper way. But right now, they're not in anything. I can put them in a paragraph tag for now, but I can change that later on, because what I really want to do is put my nav, my list of links in a list, tags or list elements. Okay, but I will do that later on in the class. All right, so please, for this video, I want you to follow along and put your header tag in and also your nav tag in. In your header tag, you can have an H1 tag, and inside your H1, you can write your title for the page. And then in your nav, you should create, some links. Okay, so these are not links yet; they're just text that I have written. Okay. All right, so. Now let's end here. In the next video, I am going to move on with other tags. Later on, we will revisit and see how we can make these links, these texts into actual links.